Hello, California. Hello, Democrats. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you so much. I'm so pleased to be with you. We've all survived the Blake Hotel. And sometimes these experiences have bonding qualities to them, and they're unforgettable. So it's great to be here with you. A couple of people I'd like to introduce. The first is a long-suffering husband of 32 years who is here, came in and said, well, how do I look? Will you tell him how he looks? My husband, Dick Blum. And also, I have been blessed by having a field marshal in my campaigns. This is not a 4-star field marshal, but a 5-star field marshal. And she is an ardent Democrat, and she is here today, and she is none other than Roz Wyman from the great city of LA. Rosie, stand up and take a round of applause. And also at my table, and I'll introduce anybody else if you want me to, is Wendy Gruhl, candidate for mayor of Los Angeles. Wendy, stand up. Wasn't Michelle great last night? You know, I watched this woman on television, and she was so direct and so honest. And she did something that's hard to do in a big convention hall, and that is really bond with your audience. But that happened. And I think in the course of her speech, what she said about her life as the wife of Barack Obama, American citizen, and also as the wife of Barack Obama, President of the United States, gave us a clue into this White House. Their love of family, their care for their girls, President Obama's efforts in so many different ways. You know, it's been very hard for me to be in the Senate and see what's happening, and I want to talk to you a little bit about it. I've seen this president battered from post to post unfairly. You know, this is a president who knows there's much more work to be done. He has worked prodigiously on measure after measure to move this economy forward. 4 jobs bills, 3 of them filibustered by Republicans. Only 1 narrow bill affecting veterans got through. A stimulus plan, which because of EPA, of various environmental impact reports, couldn't move as quickly as possible, but has helped. 5 separate housing measures. Good for California because foreclosure is a huge issue here, and a payroll tax cut, to name just a few. The president has saved the American auto industry. He's eliminated Osama bin Laden. He's passed historic health reform. He's brought our troops home from Iraq. And in 2014, they will come home from Afghanistan. But during this period, the Republicans have become the party of no and obstructed virtually every consequential measure over the last 4 years. Let me tell you how it happened. I was sitting in my office watching the floor of the Senate on opening day, and the 2 leaders generally go to the floor, and there was Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell. Leader Reid outlined the priorities for Democrats, and then came the time for the Republican leader. And do you know what he said? He said, our top priority is to make Barack Obama a 1-term president. I have never heard that in the Senate of the United States before. And what it ushered in was obstruction and preventing this president from getting his program through. And the way they did it was by use of an arcane procedure called cloture. 82 times, measures required 60 votes to come to the floor of the Senate. Well, if a measure was controversial, if it was meaningful, it didn't come to the floor of the Senate. Supreme Court judges, appellate court judges are being filibustered, cabinet officials, many of the president's appointments. This is one way to stop a president. It's the wrong way. As I watched in Tampa, the contrast and the choice between our two parties cannot be starker. Democrats want to build a future for our children, our grandchildren. We want a strong middle class because that's the heartbeat of this nation. We want an economy based on fairness and investments in transportation, education, clean energy. Republicans want tax cuts, and tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires. Democrats stand for affordable access to health care that doesn't deny coverage for pre-existing conditions or limit lifetime benefits. Republicans have made the repeal of health care reform a centerpiece of their campaign, and they have no alternative. We stand for permanent and prudent regulation of financial institutions so people can get a fair shake when they're investing, buying a home, or saving for retirement. Remember all those subprime loans, sliced and diced, securitized, the beginning of the huge foreclosure problem. And California runs number 2 next to Nevada in the number of foreclosures per person. They want more tax breaks for oil and gas companies. Drill, baby, drill still is alive. We stand for protection of Medicare, Social Security, and a social net that keeps seniors and the disabled out of poverty. They want to end Medicare as we know it today. Provide vouchers. That will cost seniors $6,000 more a person. We believe immigrants are vital to our economy and should have the ability to come out of the shadows with dignity and work legally. Republicans oppose even the DREAM Act for young people of good moral character, even when they were brought to this country through no fault of their own. We stand with Cecil Richards for protection of a woman's right to choose and an end to playing politics with women's health. They oppose this under all circumstances, while certain candidates talk dismissively about legitimate rape. The Republicans have a national debt clock running at their convention. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Romney-Ryan ticket. As chairman of the House Budget Committee, Mr. Ryan produced a radical budget that virtually eliminated transportation, education, and scientific research from the budget. This plan didn't balance the budget until 2040. It passed the House twice. It turns Medicare into the voucher program. 62% of the cuts Ryan would make affect the poor and those struggling the hardest. And where do the savings achieved by this plan go? To investments in infrastructure? No. To investments in the middle class? No. To pay down the debt? No. They go to pay for tax cuts to the wealthy. Last week in Tampa, the Republicans passed the platform which I never thought I would see. It bans abortion nationwide in all instances. Incest, rape, the health of the mother, all these things are not considered. The Republican Party would take this nation back to when I was a college student. And ladies and gentlemen, I saw what it's like. I had a friend who committed suicide. We passed the plate so a girl could go to Tijuana for an illegal abortion. And then later, as an appointee of Pat Brown, I sat on the California Women's Board of Terms and Parole, and we sentenced women for committing illegal abortions. And those were the coat hanger days. We must not go back to them. This is a big point in this campaign. As an aside, I'm also running for re-election, and I didn't know whether to do that or not, but I did. And I'm running because I believe that my work as a United States Senator is not yet complete. I chair the Intelligence Committee, as was mentioned. We're protecting our nation's security, disrupting terrorist activity, and providing critical, nonpartisan oversight of our 16 big intelligence agencies. I'm very proud that our platform recognizes the right of same-sex couples to legally marry. I care about this issue, and I look forward to the day when California restores marriage equality. In the meantime, I am the author of the bill to repeal the discriminatory defense of marriage, called DOMA. This bill passed in the mid-90s with just 14 of us in the whole Senate opposing it. And what it did, take away every federal benefit from any same-sex couple legally married in their state. Now, these are spousal rights. These impact Social Security. They impact the estate tax. All kinds of rights were removed. So despite the fact that 7 or 8 states today legally recognize same-sex marriage, it is with none of the federal rights that come to all couples who marry. I intend to stay this course. We have 33 co-sponsors. I'm going to ask you to help me gain co-sponsors. We will stay with this issue until we enact this law. In 1993, I authored the assault weapons legislation, which reduced the supply of assault weapons over a decade until expired in 2004. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time to say once again in legislation, weapons of war do not belong on our streets, in our classrooms, in our schools, or in our movie theaters. So in the next session, I will reintroduce an updated assault weapons bill. Right now, homeowners who hold commercial bank loans cannot modify them to take use of lower interest rates. Part of the President's 5-point program with housing is to do that. We have written, in conjunction with the White House, legislation which would create, at no cost to the taxpayers, a federal insurance program which would enable people who have commercial loans from the Bank of America, Wells Fargo, other banks, to be able to modify their mortgages to make use of lower interest rates. Finally, and importantly, I'm number 2 in seniority on the Immigration Subcommittee of Judiciary, and I intend to push for real immigration reform this next year so that businesses and farms can have legal labor, and this will take millions of people out of the shadows. Now, I must ask you to do something. If we don't pass Proposition 30 on the California budget, the cut to the University of California, with its 250,000 students, will be $350 million. And that's how it goes. So this measure produced by the governor will, in fact, increase revenue for public education. Please support it. And all across this country, we have seen the rights of working men and women under assault from the right wing. Now that assault comes to California in the form of Proposition 32, the Special Exemptions Act. Let us stand together and oppose this proposition. Well, after this convention, we're in the home stretch. This is where walking that walk and talking that talk matter. All we have to do is think of what a Republican president and this vice president and a Republican Senate and a Republican House would mean for this country. There are critical Senate races, and I want to ask you to help a few people. Bill Nelson in Florida, Sherrod Brown in Ohio, Heidi Heitkamp in North Dakota, Tammy Baldwin in Wisconsin, Claire McCaskill in Missouri, John Tester in Montana, Shelley Berkeley in Nevada, Bob Kerrey in Nebraska, and Mazie Hirono in Hawaii. These are big races. These are close races. And winning a large number of them puts the Senate in Democratic hands. So please, I hope you'll walk that walk. I hope you'll support these candidates. Well, it's just about over. We'll hear the president tomorrow night. And I want to just end by saying thank you for the many times that this party has allowed me to represent you in the Senate of the United States. I will do my very best to continue, and thank you, and let's win in November. Thank you very much.